Yes, today we have Shaurya with us, Shaurya Kapoor, who got All India rank 214 in CLAT 2023. Congratulations, Shaurya, first of all, and welcome to GK101. And guys, we have Chirkanshit again, who is a part of GK101 and the CMO at GK101. Today, we'll be taking the interview of Shaurya and we'll be discussing how he made it to one of the top NLUs. So, over to you, Shaurya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your best wishes. And I would say that I have had a very long journey since almost it's been since April last year that I've been preparing for this exam, and it's going to be almost 1.5 years now. I could not make it to my desired NLU in the first attempt. I had given CLAT 2022 and I got an All India rank of 1,068. Yes, to be precise. And I finally took admission in RGNUL Patiala, considering I wanted to be on the safer side. And I decided to take this bit of a risk to manage preparing for CLAT again, since it was in the next 6 months only. So I saw a golden opportunity. And then I joined my college and I went over to Patiala, since it's close by to my place, also being based out of Delhi. I went there and I prepared for CLAT, and I entered my exam center also as my college only in Patiala, since RGNUL comes as the center. And then I retook exam from my college, and I was able to secure an All India rank of 214 by learning from the mistakes that I committed, particularly in my first attempt.
Okay. So what all mistakes you committed? Can you tell a few major mistakes that you did and people should not do that? Anything you would like to share on this?
वहीं से कंटिन्यू करूँ ना?
Yeah. What were your takes?
So
what were your mistakes?
I would say that so I would say that one of the major mistakes I committed was that I underestimated the importance of newspapers in my first attempt, because I started reading the newspapers very late. And I see newspapers as a means of improving your overall general knowledge also, which helps in the CLAT GK section, and also the reading skills, which of course helps in the three major sections of CLAT, that is English, logical and legal. And specifically when it comes to reading editorials usually in the Hindu newspaper especially are filled with a lot of information that you can research upon, which helps you again in the GK. And again, many times the editorials are based on legal issues also that helps with legal reasoning section as well. And generally, of course, reading the newspaper is going to benefit one person overall in the CLAT paper. Apart from that, I did not take quants that seriously, I would say, because my practice regarding quants was very low. Not that I did phenomenally well in the second attempt in CLAT, but that was because the CLAT quant section was itself very tough. But I could have done very better in the first attempt if I had practiced quants the way I wanted to. Apart from that, on the day of the examination, I was not able to keep my cool in my first attempt. And I remember that I panicked in the beginning of the exam. I messed up my English section, which was one of my strengths. And also I started with the GK section, which I would say is one of my mistakes, because when many times you do not know a lot of questions in the GK section, and if that affects your mindset in any way, that turns out to be negative, then that's going to impact your whole paper. So I start with English, that is my strength, and I was able to do well in English in this year's CLAT 2023. And then I went on to GK. Since my English section had already gone well, GK section being that tough, it did not affect me a lot, and I was able to go smoothly about my paper. So I would say these were some of the things that I learned from my first CLAT attempt, and I was able to correct them in my second one to do CLAT in a better way.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Chirkanchit, regarding the same?
All of us know that you were one of my batchmates and you prepared along with college. So what would you suggest to the partial droppers who are preparing with college? How did you keep yourself apart from the various activities going on at the college?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I would say that when you join the college, of course, it's not that easy to keep yourself separated from all the affairs going on in the college. But what you can do is that there are centers and committees in the college. So I did not join any of the centers. I remember I had planned on joining, but then I dropped the idea, given that when I actually got into the mode of CLAT preparation, I had only 2.5 months left. So I decided not to join any centers. Apart from that, the I would say the load given on students, especially in the first semester, is not that much. So for clearing my mid-semester examinations, I remember pulling all-nighters with my friends, including Chirkansh with you, and we used to go to the exam with just, I think, 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I know that's not good, but that's something that you need to compromise on when you have already joined a college and there are no preparatory leaves in between of mid-semester examinations. So I was able to pass all my subjects. I do not remember failing in any of them. However, the crunch came at that point of time when I had the end semester examinations along with CLAT, and there was just a gap of 2 days between CLAT and the end semester examinations. But I remember I was detained in 3 subjects at the end of the end semester examinations. So that worked out a lot in my favor, and I was able to just keep myself in the CLAT mode. I gave three of the earlier 3 examinations. I skipped the last 3 examinations, and then I gave CLAT.
Okay, that is what I'll call a blessing in disguise that happened with you regarding the detention thing. Okay, so yeah, coming to the question, what was your strongest section this year, and what was your weakest section, and how did you tackle it? Okay.
Okay, so I would say in alignment to my preparation and the way that CLAT actually went, I would say an aspirant should actually expect the unexpected, because I remember I was not faring well in logical at all. I was scoring between 16 to 18 marks in a mock on an average, while in legal I was scoring 28 to early 30s, around 32, I would say. So as you can see that I was doing fairly well in legal as compared to logical. But what happened on the day of the examination was, while I was solving the legal section, it felt as if everything is going right. But eventually, I realized when I checked the answer key that I've messed up the legal section. But what happened in my favor was that I did phenomenally well in logical reasoning. So I got around 29 out of 30. That all 29 attempts of mine in the logical section were correct. So I would say that you should never think of any section as your weak section while you are entering the examination hall. I did not go with the mindset that okay, logical has to go bad when I enter the examination hall just because I'm doing bad in mocks, or neither was I overconfident with regards to the legal reasoning section that it has to go good just because I was doing good in the mocks. Or the only mindset while I had while going to the paper was that I have to give my best, and there is no need to panic or have anxiety of any sort. Apart from that, I would say that quants is one section that I have consistently not done very well in, and I could say that the quant section is something that I cannot score too high in. So there is no point investing more than 5 to 7 minutes in the quant section, and that is what I did, and that saved me time for logical because it was the last section I solved, and I completed logical in 25 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Coming to coming to the next question, that is, you said basically to conclude whatever you said, I would just say कि CLAT पे we should not only focus on the section जो हमारा strength है. Sometimes there is a possibility हमारा strength वाला section भी खराब जा सकता है. So it is necessary कि हम हर section में अपना best दें. Similar thing happened with me जब मैंने CLAT दिया था 21 में. My critical reasoning section was not good at all. ठीक है. but I got a very good score in critical reasoning. उस वजह से I made like I got a good rank. ठीक है, that's what I can say. That, like critical reasoning balanced my paper as well. Although I attempted it at the last, and later did I realized कि critical reasoning का section सबसे easy था. Okay, so yeah, that is something everyone should understand. Okay, coming to the next thing, what do you think जो हमने mocks दिए हैं, जो आपने mocks दिए हैं, first of all, how many mocks have you given? Second thing, do you think that किसी भी जो भी आपने mock दिया किसी भी institute का, does any of the mock synchronize with the CLAT actual paper? Does any of the mock, like I would like to ask this first. Actually students tend to think,
I would say,
actually students tend to think we are doing good in a particular mock of a particular institute and we'll do very well in CLAT. Is that actually true? I'll just like to ask you that.
Okay, so I'll give you my example only.
Yes.
Usually CL mocks are considered to be comparatively easier by many aspirants. I was doing decent in them. 95 to 100 was my score. And then we have, I would say, two major mocks, that is CLAT possible, some people refer to it, or Legal Edge. That is, I think, one of the most favorite test series that every CLAT aspirant goes for. But I would say that, first of all, my score in Legal Edge mocks was not crossing 82. That was my highest score in Legal Edge mocks, I remember. But my percentile in the mocks, that was always above 90s. In most cases, my percentile was above 90s. So I would say that across all the mocks that I've given, there was no one particular mock that actually synchronized with this paper. But I would say that there was I think there were these all India open mocks given to me by CLAT Possible. So these all India open mocks that CLAT Possible provides are actually very balanced. They will have a tough section, they will have an easy section, they will have a moderate section, and I scored fairly well in them, and my percentile was also I think above 95 only in these mocks. So I would say that paper actually helped me in the real CLAT, because this year's CLAT was not as easy as last year's CLAT or as last to last year's CLAT. So neither is the CLAT as difficult as the LE mocks are actually, because many times many aspirants are not able to comprehend the legal reasoning section in the LE mocks, and I have also suffered from this. And then I used to start taking a toll on my mental health, as I would start feeling demotivated. But by the end of my journey, the last mock that I gave the mock till the very last moment. One day before the examination also I gave the mock, and I scored 76 in that mock. I remember it was an LE mock, but I just gave that mock because while LE mocks are good for practice, CP mocks, I would say, are more closer to the real paper. So I would say that one should not be afraid to give any kind of mocks from any institution. And the second thing, do not get emotionally attached to the score of a mock. It should not like go on to your head if it's too high a score, because I would not like to name them, but I have friends who were scoring in between of 90 to 95 in LE mocks, and they still could not get a rank that they desired for. So I would say it all matters what you do on the actual day. And if you have this relaxed mindset that, okay, these are the mistakes that I have made in my mock. Like I remember I had given 60 mocks across my whole journey of 1.5 years. So that's not too high a number, and 60 mocks are sufficient. And I would not say that you must also give 60 mocks. Someone might want to give close to 100. Someone would only give around 30 mocks. But analysis is the key. I used to analyze every mock, and I noticed that while I was analyzing my mocks till my first CLAT preparation also, but I was not working that well on my mistakes. So it is very important to note down your section-wise mistakes. I used to use tally marks to note down the number of questions I got wrong because of my vocabulary in the tone questions, especially in the English section, or in the CR section, which questions were going wrong. Like I remember assumption and weaken questions, these types of questions were going wrong. So there is this website called GMAT Hub, and I'll share the link with you so you can provide it to other aspirants.
GMAT Club, right? It's
club GMAT, or Hub, something like that. You can filter the questions in that. and also adjust the level. So I used to particularly practice weekend and assumption questions. I did 2-3 weekend and assumption questions on the morning of the actual CLAT exam to have a warm up. So I kept myself into the preparation throughout the duration of my journey. I never actually got out of the preparation mode, apart from in between when I was enrolled in the counseling process for CLAT 2022, and I was deciding my college. I would say that one should be engrossed in the preparation, and there is no certain number of mocks or a certain score that guarantees your selection.
Okay. That's very well said regarding the mocks and how the mock score should not get into your mind. Like, it's very well saying, like, success should not get into your mind and failure should not get into your heart. That's the thing. Yeah. Coming to Chirkansh, do you have any questions from him?
Shaurya, what was your sectional approach? How did you tackle English, and then how did you tackle CR? Would you like to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So particularly in English and CR, I kept this approach of reading the questions first. And this is not something that I devised on my own. Of course, I got this approach from my mentors only, and from other aspirants who have cleared CLAT before. So what I used to do was that I used to read the questions first, not the options, only the questions. So when I read the passage, then I get an idea as to what approach do I need to keep while reading the passage, what questions should be in my mind that I should be looking for in the passage to answer. So that was my approach for English and for CR as well. So I remember sometimes when the passage questions seemed too objective, like what did X say, or what did X desire for, anything like that, that is too objective, that can be directly answered. In that case, I read the options so that I can easily eliminate them when in one reading itself. This process might seem like a time-taking process, but if with practice, I was able to complete one English passage under 5 minutes. So my English section used to take somewhere around 25 to 30 minutes. Now I never aim to complete my English section below 25 minutes, because I know that my reading style is in this way only, that I take some time to understand, then my accuracy goes high. So one should first practice a few mocks and try to realize if that person is able to do the English section with good accuracy in 20 minutes, well and good. If not, if you're touching 30 or going between 30 to 35, work on it, bring it to between 25 to 30 and keep that stable. Because English questions are not usually that tough also. In this, and even in this year's CLAT also, the English section was somewhere easy to moderate only, not that difficult as compared to what QT was or what GK was. So I also scored somewhere around 22 only in the English section, which is a good score. I mean, with regards to this year's CLAT, I would say it's a good score. But coming to this CR section now. Now, CR section is something that will always trouble a CLAT aspirant, a normal average CLAT aspirant like I was. I was not doing phenomenally well in the CR section, as I told. I was scoring between 16 to 18. But what approach I followed to do well in CR was that I used to go and read the meaning of what an assumption is actually, what an inference is actually. And when I read that, I was able to make out that, okay, inference is not something that is going to be directly stated in the passage.
Correct.
Inference is something that I need to make out on my own. So I should quickly eliminate that option that directly gives something that is just taken from the passage and pasted there. So that way I brushed up my concepts regarding critical reasoning. And since the critical reasoning in CLAT is very basic in most cases, so I would not say that any aspirant should take a mental load with regards to the CR section. Just keep in touch with your basics and keep on solving sectionals. Also, when you're solving sectionals, I would say solve the toughest sectionals that you can find, because solving easy sectionals is not going to help. You will any day score higher on a sectional test as compared to a whole mock. So you should solve tougher sectionals so as to do well an actual mock or the actual CLAT. So
Okay.
this was my basic approach for the English and CR section.
Okay. Now coming to the other sections, like how did you perform in the legal reasoning, GK and cons? Like what was your takeaway?
So I would say that these three sections I did not perform as well as I expected to, because in legal I did pretty bad. I would say I scored just 23.25 marks, and I had attempted 39 questions out of 40, and I felt that I should be scoring at least 30 plus. Now I don't know how this happened. There was certainly some issue which I myself have not been able to figure out as to what the exact issue was. Maybe it was lack of intricate reading that I was not
Yeah.
able to do on the day of the examination, given that I was doing fairly well in the legal reasoning sections that were more tougher than the one that came in the actual class.
Okay.
And so I would say that one should not panic if they're scoring less in the legal section. Doing sectionals for the legal section is the key to mastering the legal section, because as number of questions you solve, as number of passages you go through, that's going to help you, because I had already read the SBI electoral bond thing, and other passages, some of the other passages also that were, I think, based on CRPC in the sectional tests that I had solved. And apart from that, if someone is a beginner, then I remember that I used to have this what do we say, an explanation book that was not exactly a workbook. It had all the concepts. So
Okay.
it is important to first read all the concepts, despite just having to answer from the passage in the actual paper. Is my video clear?
Yeah, now it's a bit clear. It actually paused for a second. It's good now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was saying, that it is very important to first read all the concepts once, at least for once, and then keep revising them 1 to 2 times every month, and solving sectionals all along, because sectional is something that is going to help you in legal, where you have to go through 8 passages on the same subject. Also, if one feels, one can just go through the passages in say 30 to 40 seconds and check out which topics is the aspirant familiar with. Say if I am more familiar with torts, or I am more familiar with vicarious liability, then I would solve that passage any day over a passage that is about SBI electoral bonds. So that way I'll be able to solve a larger number of questions in a shorter span of time. Then I can give a larger span of time for the tougher questions. And yeah,
That
so
is a
that
good
was my
approach.
approach for the legal section.
That's a good approach, I would say. Yeah. Coming to the GK section and the con section, what do you think that is the key to get a very good score in GK? Very first thing I would like to ask you is this. Yeah.
See, I would say I was expecting a good enough score in GK this year, since I had put in much more effort towards GK as compared to what I did last year. But after giving CLAT for 2 years and finally getting a good rank, a decent rank in the second attempt, I would say that I've learned that GK is not at all predictable. So one never go into the paper relying on the GK section. And by the end of my preparation for the second attempt, my reliance had fallen despite my immense preparation for the GK section. So one thing I would say is that newspapers are something that are not to be missed out, because all of these issues, like about the Bankman Fried thing, or about the FIFA thing, all these issues are not issues exactly. All these topics are in the current news, and they have detailed explanations and detailed content on them in the newspaper, which you're not going to find in the compendiums. I had done compendiums as well, and I was able to solve most of the questions in the compendium. अभी lag हो रहा है?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that while compendiums need to be done for revision, newspapers are something that need not be missed out at all. because newspapers give an all over coverage of world issues and national issues. So one should have the skill of filtering through articles as to which articles are important. They should be of national or international interest only, nothing that is too local. And apart from that, the compendiums that I would say GK101 provided were pretty helpful, because the compendiums were good to read, had precise information, but based on the compendiums, the thing that actually helped me were the question banks specifically on some important topics. So what happens is that when we explore a larger topic like FIFA, it will cover questions on Indian football bodies as well. Like Indian football body was banned by FIFA, so there were
Yeah.
questions on these type of issues as well. So when we follow question banks instead of just compendiums, that is
Okay.
something that I would say more helpful with regards to CLAT.
So you would, to summarize it, you would like to say it's important not only to revise GK continuously from the compendiums regularly, I would say, and it's equally important to give the test. And basically, you are referring to the topic test and the sectional test which we provided, right? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Last but yeah, last but not the least, I would like to say, how did GK101 contribute to your preparation? And do you think like the price which you paid for our course, was it a decent price, and were you satisfied with the quality and everything which we provided? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, coming to the price factor, first of all, of course, the price is justified, because I just had to pay an amount of 2,700 after the application of a few discounts. So I got an access to a large question bank of GK questions. So one that provided me security as to not to wander around with multiple GK sources. And I was able to stick to one GK source, because a problem of multiple sources also troubles an aspirant as to revise from how many sources. So this was one thing that helped me.